Welcome to the Business Boys Talkin-Business Virtual Power Lunch. Please welcome your hosts, Tyler Price and Brian Magleby.
Well, hey, I can't see if I'm on or not. I'm taking that I am, but I am missing my good friend, Brian Magleby. Brian does such a great job on making this stuff happen. I literally show up and he doesn't ever yell at me as he should. Look at, we're sitting here with the field behind us, beautiful field. But Brian makes these things happen. So Brian is erring on the side of caution. He was exposed to COVID and is not going to be here if potentially spreading the love of COVID, which he numbers than before. So who knows? So anyway, and don't get me up on a soapbox. Trust me, I will beat the drum on a lot of topics, and that is one of them. But want to thank Caleb Demick last week for coming and visiting with us from the Bank of Idaho and for the great things they're doing here and the expansion that they've seen. So if you're in need of banking questions, I highly recommend going and talking with the Bank of Idaho. But today, and before we get there, we do have sponsors, and our sponsors are amazing. They allow us, over the past year and a half, it seems like now, or better than a year anyway, allow us to come out here and talk with people in the community and talk with other people outside of our community even. We've had some pretty high-powered people, but if it wasn't for BBSI, and again, BBSI, if you have any HR needs, any business growth questions, anything that you're looking for from acquisition to sale, these are definitely the types of people that you want to talk to, this BBSI company. I speak very highly of them. These are people that are my friends. You walk into their office, go in and steal a drink out of one of the conference rooms. I recommend that. I've been known to have done that occasionally, but grateful for the BBSI and their support. Also, the Small Business Development Center, best kept secret in Idaho. If you have a need or wanting to start or trying to grow your business, I highly recommend coming and talking to the SBDC and getting in on some of the classes that they're offering that will be happening here in the fall. The Idaho Innovation Center, which Brian heads up, he's also involved with the SBDC. But at the Idaho Innovation Center, if you are a startup or an incubator, they have typically they have some space. I'm not sure if they're available now, but they had a couple offices that were available. The people that go through this innovation center have a 95% success rate. So you actually do graduate out of the innovation center at some point, and the businesses that come there go out and have been able to be successful at a tune of 95%. And what Brian has done with the innovation center is just bar none. He never talks about it, and that's why he's not here. So I'm taking the time to do that. Volpine Marketing with our website and with social media marketing topics. Also New Line Media. Tyson lets us here in his office at the Rogers building. And I can't speak highly enough of Tyson either. So, I mean, he just does great things. He's helped me in a venture that I've been working on. He helps with anything from drone work to videography, editing. I mean, anything that you're needing to visually, this kid you should first talk to. Highly recommend Tyson with New Line Media. So with that, we have summer is supposed to be here any day. I swear, I'm not even joking. I walked out today and I had snow underneath one of my plants, and I swore a little bit, but neither here nor there. It's a little chilly, but I think we're in the 90s at some point this week is what I saw on a forecast. So looking forward to that. But with that, we do have our spring sports and baseball being one of them. And we have Kevin Green from the Idaho Falls Chuckers with us today. We're going to talk a little baseball. We're going to talk a little bit about another franchise that's coming into the market. And just Kevin's been here for a minute, so we're going to talk about his history and how he got started in that. But to go ahead and begin, let's launch a video here about the Chuckers.
2-0 the count. The pitch is a long fly ball. This one is long, strong. It is gone. Matt finds Epstein wins it. It wasn't a knockout round, but it's a home run in the bottom of the ninth. Chuckers win 15-14, and look at the celebration at home plate. Wow.
Wow, baseball, and we were kind of talking a second ago. My last Major League Baseball game was in Washington, D.C. I went and watched the Nationals play and lose to the Rockies. So I had to root for the Rockies because regionally that's kind of our team, I guess. But you've been here, as we were talking, for 30 years with well, we're calling them the Chuckers. What were they when you first started with them?
Yeah, when I first moved to Idaho Falls in January of '93, when I was first hired by the Elmore Sports Group, the owner of the team, we were known as the Idaho Falls Gems.
Yeah.
And the Gems was kind of a failed experiment with the team name. The funny thing was in '91, the team was the Braves.
Yeah.
The general manager thought it was a good idea to create their own brand. The Chuckers brand has worked quite well for us, but the Gems name never really caught on. It failed. So they had a really dismal year in 1992. I was hired prior to the '93 season when I moved here in January. But one of the first things I did was ask a number of people around town, is the team struggling, and why are they struggling? Well, no one could understand why the team was named the Gems.
Yeah.
When at that point, the Atlanta Braves everyone was watching on TBS here, and they were one of the most successful teams in baseball at that time.
And it's who you sent guys up to was the Braves.
At that time, yes.
That time. Yeah.
Our big slogan was the Braves are back, and then with that, the fans came back.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, yeah, and we are the Gem State, but still, it's in terms of like a logo, I don't even know what you do for something like that.
Well, the Gems was a big red diamond,
okay.
And it said Gems across it.
Nothing says baseball like a big red diamond.
I guess
right?
not.
So you went from the Gems to the Braves.
Right. The Braves affiliate was here through the start of my tenure here. A few short years later, they chose to go to Eugene in the Northwest League. So we had an affiliation change where we signed on at that point the San Diego Padres.
Okay.
And the Padres are a great affiliate. We won a couple championships with them on 1998 and the year 2000. Great people to work with. They gave us quality players, a lot of guys who made it to the big leagues. After the 2003 season, as a Padres affiliate, there was a lot of pressure from Major League Baseball to try and get the Kansas City Royals, who had two clubs in the Gulf Coast League, which is your lowest level of pro ball. They had their older and younger short season clubs both there, and they wanted to get an older short season club. And so we agreed to sign an agreement with them. Padres ended up going from here down to the Arizona League, but that affiliation started in '03. That was the year Billy Butler joined the team.
Yeah.
And we became the Chuckers that year because we'd just gone through name changes in line with our Major League affiliate. We felt it was only time to give the team another opportunity to rebrand with our own brand. And we brought in the Chuckers name. Somewhat controversial. Some people loved it, some people loathed it, and I think we're going to find that with the new hockey team as the Idaho Falls Spud Kings.
I like it.
Same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Love it or loathe it. But I think in time it's going to grow on everyone. We created a great logo. We're going to have a good look, and as long as the team is out there and you're having fun and you're watching it, you are going to embrace the Spud Kings. I'm certain of it.
So then your role is general manager. So you've been really focused on baseball for most of your time. So why then take on hockey? Because they're not similar sports. Like the thing I love about baseball is you show up, you eat some food, you sit and you talk, you socialize, and the game's kind of going on. Hockey is a little more, you got to be paying attention. Not that you're not paying attention to baseball, but it's a little slower game, but still it's an exciting game. But so how did you then, like, okay, we're just going to give Kevin another responsibility?
Well, when this community's been talking about this event center, which is now called the Mountain America Center, for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And I've always been a hockey fan, and my ownership group, the Elmore Sports Group, and I have always talked about, if another team comes in, who better to run it than us? We've already got a foothold in the sports marketing community. We've got the relationships. I know enough about hockey to pretend I know it. I grew up playing it in Northern New York, where I grew up. So I know a little bit about the sport, and it just makes sense for me and my staff market baseball for the summer and market hockey and the rest of the year. And the synergy and the cross promotion will only strengthen both operations by utilizing our opportunity to market both of them, promoting Chuckers baseball at the Mountain America Center, but also promoting Spud Kings hockey at Melaleuca Field.
Yeah. And so who came up with the name Spud Kings?
We will actually have to go back. We partnered with our friends over at IE Productions who help us run a Name the Team contest.
Yeah.
And they did it through a Mountain America Center's Facebook. And it grew and it grew, and all of a sudden hundreds of entries are going in and thousands of people are responding. We took these names and we hired a company called Brandiose. They're probably one of the top graphic designers for minor league baseballs across the country by far. And we went through all these names and we said we've got to come up with the right brand. We did take the names and we narrowed it down to 8. And from there we put those back out and we narrowed it down to 3. The 3 were Spud Kings, the Freedom Gliders, which is a nickname for an eagle, if you didn't know that. Okay. But we really couldn't go that way because there's a team in the league called the Northern Colorado Eagles. So that kind of eliminated that. And then the Sturgeon. Yeah. Now we said to Brandiose, okay, of these 3, which is the one that we can really own? Yeah. And they said, well, when you think of Idaho Falls and the other 49 states of the country, what do you think of when you think of Idaho? You think potatoes. Potatoes, yeah. There's fish logos out there everywhere, but hasn't been done before. And at this level, no one's come up with a name tied into the potato industry. We'll own it. If somebody thinks Idaho, they're going to think potatoes. And if they're thinking potatoes, they're going to start thinking Spud Kings. Yeah. And the day we announced it, we had over 150. We had all we had available because of short notice was T-shirts and hoodies. Yeah. And we sold over 150 just at our press conference.
Yeah, you guys need to get with somebody to get some more merchandise.
We're working on that. Yeah, we've got some good suppliers, but we only finalized the logo less than a week before the announcement.
Wow. So this is a fast-moving deal. So let's see. Brian Magleby, one of our watchers out there, is asking, how are the ticket sales for both the baseball and pre-sales for hockey going?
Well, baseball, if you've been out to the ballpark, we only have about 1,350 individual box seats from dugout to dugout. Right. And so within that, we'll sell about 900 season seats per year. And that's what I was thinking that we would sell for hockey. One of the things we do for baseball, we sell a lot of big groups, banks, credit unions, INL, so on, a lot of big groups, but we just don't have that many box seats. Hockey, we're expecting to sell about the same. We're already over 1,600 season seats for hockey.
Nice.
And the way things are going, we don't want to not make individual game tickets available to people to come up and buy at the window or buy online in advance. So we were likely going to cap season seats at 1,850. Yeah. The lower bowl has 3,400 seats in it. And then, of course, there's club level seats, and then there's suites and loge boxes. We think that's the right number. You hit 1,850, and then you create a list. Anyone that wants to be on, you're out first on the list, the waiting list. Yeah, yeah. And then create demand.
Yeah. Well, so 3,400 in the lower bowl, and then is there an upper bowl as well?
Yeah, so club level, mezzanine level has 14 suites, of which 13 have been sold. Okay. So we're looking to sell one last suite. Anyone interested, just call the Chuckers office and ask for Kevin, and I'll give you all the information on that. They're called loge boxes on one end of the building, which I would compare to what you would call a mini suite, kind of an open-air mini suite. There's 12 of those, and those have all been sold. Yeah. We have individual club-level seats, some still available, not many, maybe 60 out of about 200.
Wow. So then you used to be affiliated. Last affiliation was, going back to baseball, was the Royals.
Correct.
So I used to live in St. Joe, Missouri. The field was about 45 minutes from our house. Mm-hmm. When we lived there, Brett, what's his
Bruce
name?
Hurst.
No, well, but Brett, the third baseman.
Oh, George Brett.
George Brett. There we go. Thank you. He was like our hero, anyway, the pine tar deal that he got in trouble for or whatever. But we used to love to go to those games. What is it about baseball? Why does America love the sport so much, you think?
Well, look at the history. Yeah. If you love the history of your sports, nothing compares to baseball. football got popular, in the 60s and 70s. But baseball's been around for about 140 years. And I mean, it's part of our history. It was not just called a business, it was called our national pastime.
Yeah.
Baseball is the only business in the entire country that's exempt from antitrust laws. Because after the 1919 scandal with the Black Sox, I don't know if you know that, baseball hired its first commissioner, and he was a federal judge. His name was Kennesaw Mountain Landis. And he said baseball needs to have its own governing body, not because it's a business, but because it is our national pastime. It needs to be able to control itself. And to this day, they actually have that, which is interesting, I think.
Yeah.
But it's enabled baseball to do some things that maybe other businesses haven't, or other sports teams. But it's that long-standing history, and I mean, you go back and you think about, that 1919, you're thinking about, who won the World Series in 1919 because the White Sox threw the World Series to the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah. And no, and I'm listening to a book right now where it actually talks about the curse of the Boston Red Sox curse.
And, sure.
And how there's all the cool factor of the history, the curses, the Babe Ruth is still talked about to this day, still his candy bars out there. Anyway, cool stuff. So when you do you consider that you lost the association with the Royals, or there was something that came down that said you can't have it anymore? What exactly happened there? Yeah. And then what was the mindset when that goes away?
Well, I'm really careful what I say.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we still have a relationship with Major League Baseball. We're called a partner league now, so I wouldn't want to say anything disparaging at all.
Sure.
So I won't.
Right.
But I just say we were affiliated as a major league club. Major League Baseball's plan was simply to say, listen, we need to streamline minor league baseball. Let's get it from 160 major league or minor league affiliated teams directly tied into a major league affiliate and get that down to 120. Well, you had to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So they decided let's essentially do away with what's called short season A baseball, which was the Appalachian League, the New York Penn League, the Pioneer League, and the Northwest League. But the Northwest League was in some bigger markets with some bigger ballparks, Portland, Eugene, Vancouver, Spokane, etc. So that league became a full season league, and the other three were eliminated from the system as we knew it. The Pioneer League owners stuck together and said, we're going to continue to operate as a professional league. We'll just do it independently, and now it's what's called a partner league. But we have to sign our own players, pay their salaries, pay their workers' comp, things like that. The Appalachian League and the New York Penn League, which also were eliminated from the previous structure, became what's called wood-bat summer leagues, which is where you send college kids, where college kids are looking for a place to play in the summer.
Yeah.
Now those leagues are supported by Major League Baseball as are what are called prospect leagues. So you go to the New York Penn League, you might see college juniors and seniors who are draft eligible playing in that league, and those are heavily scouted by major league teams.
Yeah. And so you, when it was kind of, okay, we're not associated, but we're still working together, but there wasn't like any, oh man, we're screwed type of a mentality. It's like, okay, we just have to get out and manage ourselves better.
Yes, exactly. I think at first there was a lot of worry that we wouldn't be able to survive it because you are taking on such a financial burden, but you do make adjustments.
Yeah.
There was some trade-offs. Major League Baseball does subsidize the Pioneer League office with some financial commitment, but how do you just do it, less expensively in some areas? So you do that, but we did take on player salaries, coaches' salaries, all that stuff, meal money, hotels. Our expense line went up by about $300,000 a year.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that we did to offset that was under the old system, we had 76 games, 38 home and 38 away. We're now at 96 games.
Yeah, so just up the games.
Yeah, so we added 10 more home games, which enabled us to generate a lot more revenue. Did it offset all of that? No, but it offset a fair amount of it. And then you look at our pricing. Well, the cheapest tickets anywhere were minor league baseball because we didn't have to pay any of the salaries.
Right.
we had modest increases to our ticket prices to get them in line with where I think they should be. I'll give you an example. A few years ago, our most expensive ticket was $12. Now it's $16.
Yeah.
So, but over the course of the year, when you draw 100,000 fans, that extra $4 means a lot.
It's a big deal. Yeah.
You know, it means a lot. So.
Well, and I think that's a good thing. You know, I mean, I'm not necessarily opposed to the fact that they were subsidizing our subsidies in general, but when you don't have them, you have to become better business people.
Agreed.
Right? But by becoming better business people, the stickiness of staying in a community also happens to where, well, we're sharper and our kids are sharper, or, you know, the kids we're signing are sharper, and because of that, we're putting out a better product. Is that fair to say? Or
yeah, I would say the karma in the clubhouse is better than it's ever been.
Yeah.
You know, you always say this, you'd see kind of a split clubhouse when you're affiliated, because so many of the kids that get drafted and recruited by major league teams are Latino players.
Right.
So your clubhouse might be half Spanish speaking, half English speaking.
Right.
And sometimes with that communication barrier, especially at the lower levels, you have a split clubhouse.
Yeah.
You have the English guys over here speaking and the Spanish speaking guys over here, where now it's difficult to get work visas for players, so you get essentially all American players or Canadian players. Yeah. And so I think that makes for a little bit better karma, just simply because everyone can communicate better.
Yeah. So, and now, are the Spud Kings tied to any of the major league hockey teams?
No, Spud Kings are what's called Junior A hockey. And Junior A hockey really started in Canada, because in Canada there's no college hockey.
Yeah.
You go play through high school, and then if you're good, you play Junior A hockey, and there's different tiers of Junior A hockey.
Right.
The Western League, that's the Junior A hockey Western League, is a direct pipeline to the NHL. And then Junior A hockey became very popular in the States. And what that is kids coming out of high school who want to get looks by colleges. And a lot of times these college coaches are saying, go play a year or two of Junior A, you know, play in a league where all your information is video streamed.
Right.
We'll download your video. We'll keep an eye on you and see how you're doing. And so that's really popular. There's Junior A leagues all across the country now.
So then, are some of the kids you're trying to help, then you're trying to get them college scholarships still, or are you trying to get kids to the top level?
Well, eventually, I think you'll see some of these kids eventually make it. Our goal is to get every one of them that we sign into a college program, be it NCAA Division I or Division III, and wherever their career takes them from there, great. Some of them will wash out after a couple years of college hockey and join the regular workforce.
Right.
Others will continue to develop and maybe get drafted by an NHL team and get signed to a minor league club in an NHL system, like the Utah Grizzlies down the road, which are my boss, Dave Elmore, also owns.
Okay. So then you're not competing for the same players.
No. They're getting kids that pretty much wrapped up college hockey, and we're getting kids that wrapped up high school hockey.
Yeah.
But our new hockey coach, who we just announced last week at our press conference, he's in Nashville right now at a top tier showcase for some of the top hockey players in the East Coast. There's another one coming up in Boston. I think it's called the Chowder Cup. That's also brings a lot of your top high school players in to be scouted by Junior A programs.
Wow. So what does that do to these kids? Because it was always the NCAA was all, hey, you guys can't make money, and even to the point where kids that were hustling outside of their sport, they would penalize them. Now it's like, hey, go ahead and, you know, image and blah, 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 you can get a percentage. And now kids are making millions. So what does it look like for these high school kids that want to go into the NCAA? How does that function?
Well, they certainly can't do anything to jeopardize their amateur status.
Right.
We know that. So those guidelines are out there. These kids, obviously, you know, they come here, they're not going to be getting endorsements or anything like that. We're not going to say, for example, hey, if a car dealer wants to send players out there to be at a car dealership for a Saturday for 2 hours, the players want to do that, we can get them to go out and sign autographs or whatnot, that's fine, but we're not going to pay them because you certainly can't do anything to jeopardize that status. But I want these kids to be very active in the community and have a presence. You kids are going to look up to them.
Yeah, I
The
think
kids
so.
that play the local youth hockey program, they're going to see these guys, and to that, in a young child's mind, these kids are going to be like pro hockey players.
Yeah.
They're going to be out on the ice in front of big crowds.
Well, we should see, don't you think that there'll be an uptick in even the high schools? Because right now they combine some of the schools together to form a team.
Yep.
That, to me, it's like something to watch, because the second that every high school has their own hockey team, that probably can be attributed to what you guys are doing as the Spud Kings.
I'd like to think we can really help the program out. The first thing that's going to help this program out is that there is going to be a public use element to the Mountain America Center, which means, for example, if the Spud Kings are playing home on a Friday, Saturday night, and there's a youth hockey tournament in town over at Toffus Park Ice Rink, well, before that might max out at 8 teams. But I can't have a concert there the same night I'm having Spud Kings hockey.
Right.
So what are you going to do in that ice rink throughout the day on a Friday, Saturday if the Spud Kings are home? You're going to invite some of the hockey teams to expand their youth hockey tournament. Now all of a sudden, instead of having 8 teams, you got 16 teams in town.
Yeah.
And so that's going to help their program quite a bit. There's going to be a lot of youth hockey use there.
Yeah. Well, I think you're doing cool stuff. You've been here in the community. You're not one of the sometimes you see these people kind of come and go. You've been here for 30 years, really given in terms of baseball and everything like that. What do you want to see then, or what do you see as a big vision for the Chuckers baseball team and organization, and then also same for the Spud Kings?
Well, I think for baseball, it's simply, we're in a league that's well established. Pioneer League's been around forever. It's only been operating now for 2 years as an independent club or league, but it's doing just fine. We have solid ownership, we have solid operators, and each of the teams that are in the league continue to remain financially viable. So we're in the Pioneer League for the long haul.
Yeah.
And if somewhere down the road Major League Baseball says, hey, we might want to expand back into some of these markets, we're ready to go.
Yeah.
We're only going to continue to make sure our ballparks are beautiful and that the fields, play well and maintain our stadium lights. We're ready to go if that day ever comes where Major League Baseball wants us back and says, hey, we're going to guarantee the 10 teams in the Pioneer League Major League affiliates. In fact, we were so worried about the future of the Pioneer League. It was an 8-team league in 2019. We sat out 2020, and here we are 2 years later now with 10 teams instead of 8.
Nice. That says something.
And expansion continues to be in the scope of things coming down the road. Hockey's the same thing. The one thing I could say about hockey with this new arena, it was built to meet and exceed the requirements of ECHL hockey. ECHL hockey is pro hockey, same as the Boise Steelhead and Utah Grizzlies. So ultimately, if we think this town's ready to support it, we could go in that direction. But owning within our ownership group, the Utah Grizzlies, we have the benefit of knowing what it takes to break even and be financially successful at that level. That's a lot of money. Because you're not just paying for flying these guys around the country. You're paying salaries. You're paying workers' comp on a professional hockey player, which is a crazy amount of money. So to operate is about 5 to 6 times the amount of money that will cost us to operate. We just wanted to make sure the team was going to be successful. You want to do that, operate in a league that's inexpensive to operate, and then the expectation is, okay, if it's going to be wildly successful somewhere down the road, we can upgrade.
That's great. I think cool stuff. I'm grateful that there's sports here in the area. I have been to the Chuckers. I always have a good time. I don't know why I don't go more often. I'm going to start, I got grandkids now. So, because it's a good time. You eat some food, you watch a game happening, the 7-inning stretch, you get up, sing a song, right? All the fun stuff. So,
we have a junior Chuckers club where you can come to the ballpark, and for a kid age 12 and under, you buy them for $25. They get a box full of Chuckers swag. And they get a punch card with 5 free game tickets, all for $25. How can you beat that?
I'm gonna use my grandkids and abuse that then.
So, and there's no limitations. It means there's no exclusions. This punch card is good on opening day. It's good on July 4th. It's good on the year-end fireworks show. So it's not good for just Sunday, Monday, Tuesdays or anything.
Well,
it's a great deal.
Appreciate everything you're doing. Anything that we haven't discussed that you would like to talk about Chuckers or Spud Kings?
Well, the one thing that still people might not know about Spud Kings is, how do I get involved?
Yeah.
How do I get information? Everything is going to be running out of Melaleuca Field until we can get into the building, and the anticipated date to be in the Mountain America Centers in October.
Yeah.
Event ready in November. But until then, me and my staff, sponsorship, season seats, we're going to start booking groups. We're going to have a schedule hopefully within 2 weeks.
Great.
We can start booking groups. We're in the process of, with our partner company, Centennial Management, which has got the contract to run the building. They're working on getting a ticketing system lined up right now, POS for the concessions. So there's a lot to do right now.
Right. Yeah.
And we hired a guy named Eric Hudson. You should have on here sometime soon.
Let's do it.
Eric has been hired as a general manager of the Mountain America Center, and he's doing a lot right now, booking concerts and every kind of event you can imagine over there. He's filling dates.
Yeah.
Now, you can't release to the public what those are yet until tickets are ready to go on sale.
Yeah, right. But
he is crushing it right now with events for that building.
Again, great things, because that arena is not just Spud Kings. That arena is there's going to be a lot going on at that space.
Well, we figure at least 100 ticketed events in the arena. You know, everything from trade shows to RV shows and boat shows and camper, that whole thing.
Yeah.
Other than hockey, concerts, comedians, rodeo, etc. And also, for those that didn't know, there's a huge convention space attached to it.
Yeah. Great.
So people are already starting to book dates for that, for banquets, receptions, weddings.
Fantastic.
Luncheons, whatever.
I mean, some great things have happened in the 30 years you've been here, right?
Right. I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, glad you're here running the show, or helping to run the show. Well, we're going to go into a training section here on time management tips, and then we're going to call it a show without Brian here. I mean, it's lonely. You don't realize how this guy's got a booming voice. Anyway, people hear him from all over just sitting in here. But anyway, super grateful, Kevin, that you're here. But we'll just talk a little bit here about time management tips, and then there'll probably be a video at the end of this. But with that, I know, and maybe you, how do you run your time? Because if it's not in my phone and not in my schedule, it's not getting done.
Yeah, I'm still old school. I write everything down. There's times where if I'm going, it might be a Friday, and I might not be in on Monday. I'll just take a picture of my schedule book. Other people put it in there. I just take a picture of it, and I've got it with me. But
so do you still use a Franklin Covey planner then? That's going to be
it's it's something that U.S. Foods gives me.
Yeah,
but I lay it open. It's always on my
There
desk,
you go.
and I know what my week looks like. But time management, you don't think of it, the importance of it, but it's so incredibly important. No more so than we found out than ever as this year, when all of a sudden me and my staff were operating one team are now operating two teams.
Yeah.
So it's important,
because if you aren't precise on your time, I mean, you're not serving both teams at that point. Right?
Yeah.
So, but the first thing it says is set goals correctly. I think time and days, anything that you want, and this was kind of I made a reference to Franklin Covey. I don't know if you remember the Franklin Covey planners, right?
Yeah, they're all Salt Lake City.
Yeah. They but their whole thing was, all right, here's your day, here's your time. Then anything you want in life, your time better reflect you working on that. So right now, managing two teams, well, your time has to reflect that you're managing on this much time for the Spud Kings and this much time for the Chuckers, right? So, two, prioritize wisely. I'm a big procrastinator and big guy that's a fan of wasting time, and I hate to admit that, because the older you get, the more you realize, hey, I don't have that much time. I better prioritize the things that are important. But whatever it is that you're wanting then has to be prioritized, because things that aren't as important can't take precedent over the things that are.
If I did that, then I would take more time off and work less.
Yes, well, that's true too. Step 3, set a time limit. I do think that people that just look at it as they have an infinite amount of time, that's when procrastination does set in. And by setting boundaries and time limits on projects, that's what gets it done. What's your feeling on that?
My feeling is, if I'm sitting there and I've got 20 minutes and all of a sudden something's in front of me, tackle it right then.
Yeah.
don't because if you set it off, next thing you know, that pile of things that you set aside gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And then you're buried and you go like, how am I going to do all that? So even if you find 3 minutes and you're in the middle of something important, if you're working on something and say like, boy, this just came across my desk, I'm not going to back burner it. Just go do it.
Yeah.
Get it done.
Get it done.
Clear. Just check it off your list.
Otherwise,
and
it
then,
sits there, right?
Yeah. Otherwise, you just got to keep that list of things you need to do as small as you can.
Yeah.
And then you will never pile up.
No, and something I do. I have multiple whiteboards in our bedroom, my wife and I. But then I have a small whiteboard, and I put the things that have to get done that day on it, just so I can erase them as it gets done. So anyway, take breaks between tasks. I think, sometimes just clearing our head is a good thing. Being organized, remove non-essential tasks. Again, there are things that can be delegated. I think control freaks need to delegate. And I'll say, even today, I had something that I needed to get done. I just turned to one of my people that works with me and said, hey, can you set this up? And within 10 minutes, it was done. Yeah. And it wasn't that hard, but it was like I had to do these other things. So anyway, prioritize and remove non-essential tasks and plan ahead. And we'll just pick on the Spud Kings. That wasn't something that you guys just said, hey, wouldn't it be great to get a hockey team here this year? They've been talking about this for a minute.
I've been going to IFAD meetings ever since they formed IFAD in 2011, 11 years ago. I've been sitting through all those, waiting for something to break. But even before that, I go back to when I remember sitting in meetings with guys like Fred Sika and Ron Frizzell and some of the other guys who've been around this community forever, and talk about how we're going to make this work. Chad Hammond, we sat in meetings. Alex Creek. I mean, I could just remember all these guys sitting around and say, how are we going to get this done? This is 20-some years ago. And eventually it broke when they were able to get on a ballot. Would you support, yes or no, a ballot measure that would enable the formation of the Idaho Falls Auditorium District for the purpose of collecting hotel bed tax for the purpose of building a multi-purpose event center. And when that went onto a ballot and passed, then we had our funding mechanism in place.
Because it was,
2011.
When you look at you having been a part of that, that's insurmountable because it's not like that building's cheap to build, right? And then it's got a cash flow and everything else on top of that.
Yeah, so. You've got to have the funding mechanism. Of course, hotel bed tax is essential, or it never would have gotten built. The other thing that we were able to supplement that with some big naming rights agreements that were sold by a number of different people, but Mountain America Center stepped up big. Hero Brand, the beef jerky place, which is Golden Valley Natural, stepped up big. The arena is named after them. I'm going to forget names, but Blue Cross of Idaho named the convention space, and the plazas, Teton Toyota, et cetera, But I think they were able to generate nearly $10 million in naming rights revenue.
Which is great because, these are local, for the most part, local companies. Mountain America came from the outside in, but they are local now to us. But for them to give back because they're kind of investing, hoping that they get a return, or else they're just investing because they can.
This is it's a marketing decision.
Yeah.
It was clearly a matter of getting impressions out in front of people. If you put this many people into a building of this size and have it right off the interstate with a big marquee out front that says Mountain America Center, and everyone driving up and down the interstate for every day for the next 50 years or whatever, it's going to see Mountain America Center on there. There's a lot of impressions there, and it's got a value to it. And
well, support these companies that have invested into the center. Come out, support the Chuckers. You got a 3-game stand starting tonight.
Ogden Raptors come in for tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday, and then next Tuesday we start a 6-gamer.
Okay, come out and have a great time. Brian says, great leadership, Kevin. You're the best man for the job with Spud Kings and Chuckers. Great job. I will ditto what Brian just said. If he was sitting here, he would have said it himself.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Yep. Well, I'm Tyler Price. This is Kevin Green. Come support the Chuckers and look in. So when is the Spud Kings' first game? Do we know that?
It's going to be probably sometime in November of this year.
Awesome.
The season's going to start actually towards the latter part of September, but we're going to have to start probably the first 12 games of this season on the road.
Yeah.
It's going to be about a 50-game season, but probably the first 12 will be on the road. And then on the back half of the season, you're going to be a
That's a
stockpile
lot of home
just for
games.
this year.
Yeah, a lot
just
of
for
home
this
games.
year.
Great.
Because we can't get into the building any earlier.
Yeah, well, looking forward to it. And this has been, like when we moved here, this was still a thought. This wasn't even a thing. And then all the steps have happened. So grateful to see that now it's coming together. New Line Media actually did some filming and showing us stuff there, and kind of documenting the building of that building. And anyway, super exciting stuff. So Kevin, thanks again for being here. And Brian, we'll see you next week. Oh yeah, Brian would tell you to give us a thumbs up if he was here. But since he's
How about
not,
two of them?
Two of them, there we go.
All right, there we go.
Start with the end in mind. What would your project look like if it were completed and excellent in every respect? Hello, I'm Brian Tracy, and today I want to tell you how to get more done by managing your time effectively. Tons of time management hacks and strategies have been developed over the years by hundreds of people to help you get more done in less time. Here are 6 of my favorite task management tips to help you stop procrastinating in your work and personal life. Think about which one of these ideas could be most helpful to you right now in your current situation. The first tip is you can get more done by thinking on paper. List every step of the job or task in advance. Break down the job into its constituent parts before you begin. Simply writing down every detail and thoroughly preparing in advance will help you to find a good starting point. Once you do that, just keep on following the steps that you've laid out for yourself until the job is complete. Second, come fully prepared for each task that you work on. When you sit down to work or begin a task, make sure that you have everything on hand so that you won't have to get up and move until the task is done. Being fully prepared is a powerful motivator for staying with the task until it is finished. Third, take one small step to get started. There's an 80-20 rule that says that 20% of the task often accounts for 80% of the value of that task. This is probably what Confucius meant when he said that a journey of 1,000 leagues begins with a single step. Once you've taken even one small step to start the job, you'll often find yourself continuing on with the task to completion. Fourth, you can do what I like to call the salami slice method. Just as you would never try to eat a whole loaf of salami at once, don't try to take on all of a job from the start. Sometimes the best way to complete a major task is to take a small slice and complete just that piece, just as you would take a single slice of salami and eat only that. When you select a small piece of the task and then discipline yourself to do it and get it over with, it will often give you the momentum you need to counter inertia and stop procrastinating. The fifth method to help you manage your time is called the Swiss cheese method. Just as a block of Swiss cheese is full of holes, you treat your task like a block of cheese and you punch holes in it. Select a 5-minute part of the job and do only that. Don't worry about the whole job. For example, if you want to write an article or a book, break the task down into small pieces that take an identifiable amount of time to complete and do just one small piece at a time, whenever you get a chance. Many authors begin by writing 1 page a day. If you are doing research, you can read 1 article per sitting. Many people write complete books on airplanes or complete their college degrees with blocks of time between their other activities. If you wrote 1 page a day for a year, you would have a 365-page book by the end of the year. The fact is, you will be more effective if you deal first with whatever is causing you the greatest emotional distress or fear. Often this will break the logjam in your work and free you up mentally and emotionally to get things done. Before we wrap up, I'd like to leave you with a thought to share with your friends and followers. Here it is. Start with the end in mind. What would your project look like if it were completed and excellent in every respect? Now, I'd love to hear from you, so my question today is, what can you do to help get motivated and stop procrastinating? Leave a comment below and I'll be sure to follow up with you. Thanks for watching, and remember, if you want to change your future, take action, and take action now. To learn more time management tips like these, click the button on the screen or in the description to get my free Eat That Frog transcription. If you enjoyed the video and feel it was valuable, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and share this video with your friends or anyone else who might benefit from this information.